This is Inside the Commission, a Gambling Commission podcast. Welcome to Inside the Commission, a podcast all about gambling in Great Britain. Here we'll cover all the latest topics and trends from across the gambling sector and discuss the big issues that matter to you. From consumer queries to industry insights, we'll bring you the facts from the front line of regulation and share the stats and stories from those in the know. For all the latest discussions and updates, you can subscribe to our Gambling Commission YouTube channel, or you can find us on your preferred platform, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Welcome back to part 2 of our episode on tackling corruption in sports betting, with our Sports Betting Integrity Intelligence Manager, Nick Oliver. This is Inside the Commission, a Gambling Commission podcast.
We had Andrew on a podcast not too long ago, and we spoke about how quickly the industry is always moving, and you can imagine people are always looking for loopholes and ways to do things which, would put the betting integrity at question. How do you keep up with that sort of technology, and how do you keep up with those sorts of operators, I suppose, who are trying to subvert and trying to get away with some of this activity?
A lot of it is opportunistic, but there are criminal elements to it, from organised criminal elements to it. That it's a full-time job for them to try and corrupt sporting events to advantage themselves from betting. But I think I can just reiterate, what I mentioned before. It's about communication. It's about having the knowledge that if I'm seeing something on markets offered here in this country on an event that's taking place in Lithuania, I know I can pick the phone up to my Lithuanian counterpart and have that conversation. So it's just about collaboration and that jointery, having a common approach as well to it.
Okay. Are there sort of, I know we mentioned some of the work you've done previously, but in terms of that collaboration that you spoke about, are there particular moments where that cross collaboration has really, been quite beneficial, whether it's the Olympic Games or activities like that?
Yeah, I mean, from an operational point of view, we've had a number of cases that have, we've provided information on that have resulted in quite robust action taken elsewhere. A key example was we saw suspicious activity in a tennis match that was taking place at Roland Garros in France. We were able to very quickly share that information with our French counterparts, and it resulted in the arrest of a couple of tennis players. Similarly, more recently, in the last 6 months or so, we had a similar case, but concerning football, where we shared information with colleagues in Australia, and that resulted in arrests over there. But you touched on the Olympic Games. I mean, it's not just about match fixing for us. It's about the preventative side of things as well. And I mean, I'm incredibly proud of the Olympic Games, London 2012. I mean, we had members of staff here at the time that were more involved with the strategic side of things with the Olympic Games, but effectively what we did is we formed a joint assessment unit behind the scenes of London 2012, and this was us in collaboration with the London Met Police, City of London Police, I think there were the National Olympic Committees, the IOC themselves, and local kind of government organising committees as well, representatives of Home Office and DCMS. And we were there basically to, as a group, just provide some monitoring of the games and ensure that all relevant stakeholders that had an important kind of part to play in the games were aware of any anomalous activity. It went really, really well, and so much so that the template that we used for the Olympic Games, the IOC were that impressed with it that they have subsequently used it for every Olympic Games since, and said that it's going to be a mandatory requirement if you're looking to
put on an international tournament.
Well, if you're looking to host the Olympic Games, it's a mandatory requirement to have this kind of assessment unit running in the background that covers not only kind of local government, but law enforcement and betting integrity footprint as well.
It's the legacy of London 2012 then.
A legacy of London, and I can't take the plaudits for that. You know, there were members of staff that used to work here that were integral in organising that. But yeah, we were working behind the scenes on that, and we do for a number of tournaments. You know, like Wimbledon, we cover Wimbledon every year.
You were at a table tennis one recently, weren't you?
Yeah, badminton.
Badminton.
Yes, it was the All England Championships that's held here in Birmingham.
Yeah, brilliant. I suppose we've touched on a lot of positive examples of that, you know, cross collaboration, working together, cross borders, cross jurisdictions. Are there areas that you could probably look at and go, we could be better in these certain places? And betting integrity is a massive priority for us at the Commission. Obviously, we're the Gambling Commission, so it would be, but maybe other organisations maybe look at it in a slightly with a different lens than we do.
Look, I think you're always looking to improve. You can never be complacent with what you do. And I think the industry is evolving, not just our betting industry, but the sporting industry is evolving at such a rate that you're presented continually with new risks. I mean, for example, who would have thought that esports would be part of an Olympic Games, 10 years ago? I had my first exposure to kabaddi in the last 2 weeks, where the World Kabaddi Championships were held.
How it works?
I've seen kabaddi before on Channel 4 many years ago, and to me it was just like British Bulldog on steroids. It was fabulous. I loved it. Really physical, but to understand and read up on it, that it's got like an international viewership of over 500 million.
You have to understand the sport intrinsically to understand how people might be able to, if you look at football, you can go, okay, he got a yellow card, or he deliberately missed a penalty. With some of these other sports, there's sometimes smaller things that you need to be able to identify to go, okay, maybe that's...
But that's the thing, that's how things evolve. So if we look at esports, for example, 3-4 years ago, I think, a lot of the industry were quite wary of esports, and we're just going to offer markets on Team A to win or Team B to win, match odd markets. But now you look at the markets that are available to them. Now they understand the sport more, and I would argue it may be the same with kabaddi. But to see such a huge tournament take place in the West Midlands with, like I say, a viewership of over 500 million people, then betting operators, of course, they're going to, and if it's televised, they're well within the rights to offer markets on it, and that presents not so much a concern to us, but that's something that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you go out a lot as well to universities and students, and you give a lot of talks, and you mentioned previously about education. How important is that, and what is our role in terms of sharing that knowledge?
Well, I do that because I was invited by Birmingham City University to go and speak to sports management students, and I think it's an hour of my time. I work in Birmingham. I don't have a problem going down to the university and giving a lecture on sports betting integrity and match fixing in sport and painting a picture to them. These are potentially the next generation of individuals that are going to be involved in sports management, or may not be, but if they are, at least they're entering into that arena with some level of awareness of potential pitfalls. But education on a wider scale is also important. So, I mentioned the Sports Betting Intelligence Unit being at the operational arm of things. Sitting above us is a strategic group called the Sports Betting Integrity Forum, and that comprises up of representatives from sports governing bodies, industry, professional players, federations, other integrity relevant stakeholders, law enforcement, the Crown Prosecution Service, and again, we have a collective responsibility to try and encourage and educate, because not every sport in the country is as has the kind of the money coming in as some of the main the resources available, like something like football or horse racing or cricket or something like that. So it's important for us to be able to be in a position to help support less mainstream sports, understand how they can manage integrity on a budget, but it can be. They don't need a full bespoke integrity or intelligence team to manage that, but they can help protect their sport by taking an interest and doing it on a shoestring budget, so to speak, and more than happy for them to approach the SPIF for guidance on that.
Yeah, I'm sure some people will take that up when they hear from you. Let's just talk about, we mentioned UK PLC and us sort of being, towards the front of this marketplace in terms of betting integrity and best practice. What are the main sort of ingredients for ensuring that you're addressing betting integrity for your market? What are the things that make that up? What do you need to have in place?
Well, fundamentally, you need a betting industry that is regulated, a betting industry that is integrity aware. You need a betting industry that knows what to report, what they're looking for, where to report it. You need sports to have the ability to be able to sanction players if they step over the line. You need sports that are very proactive and have an education system in place. You need a decent legislative framework as well, so the ability to take action where action is needed, not just applying sanctions against sports personalities or those under the rules and codes of sports, but the ability to chase those, the corruptors as well. And I mean, those three fundamental things. Fourth thing, you need a central intel hub to help coordinate this and pull that all together, for my money.
Is the UK strong in terms of those ingredients that you just mentioned? Have we got those things in place?
Yes, we do have those things in place. But again, we're never complacent. But what has helped us immeasurably is because we've been doing this longer than anybody else. Over the 15 years that the team's been in existence, that's 15 years of developing relationships around the world with some fantastic stakeholders. The relationships that we've got with domestic and international law enforcement, our counterparts of every single national platform, the Council of Europe, Interpol Match Fixing Task Force. I don't think there's a continent or a country anywhere in the world where we wouldn't be able to pick the phone up and be able to find somebody that would talk to us and give us an idea if we'd got a problem or we needed to ask a question about something.
That's positive. That's brilliant. That's really good. I think we're coming towards the end, but I wanted to sort of just pick up on sort of the other side of, you've got the operators and your stakeholders, but actually consumers and their views on the work we do. And obviously this is quite important. And from time to time, we do publish a lot of information in terms of we've, supported on match fixing or cheating offences or whatnot. How important is it for us to be sharing a lot of that stuff? And is there a fine line between how much of that we share and how much of it sort of doesn't get shared in terms of building consumer trust in the industry?
Well, I think, I touched on trust before. Fundamental reason why we do this is because we need to maintain that unpredictability of sport and that interest in sport and the integrity of sport and betting market. So, the spectators, the fans, are also the betting customers. So they need to be assured that what they're placing their hard-earned money on, if they want to bet, is a true reflection of what's happening on that pitch, and it's not. So, I think it's important for us to do that. And yeah, absolutely, we should be celebrating our successes, but we should be celebrating our successes once they're concluded, and obviously not giving any information away about that. I mean, myself and my team, we're not in this, as I say, we're not in this for medals. I'm not in this for column inches. We do this purely from an altruistic position. The guys and girls that work on the team love the sport. They love what they do, and it's satisfaction enough for us to see, the comms reports that come out, internally and externally, about some of the successes that we've been instrumental in helping produce.
Brilliant. And I suppose just to finish up on then, so if people have information or want to report anything, how do they do that? What's the route?
Sure. Well, there's a number of ways that they can provide information into the Commission. We have a confidential Tell Us in Confidence portal, and members of the public can find that via our website. If it's specific to betting integrity, and when I say that, I mean corruption related to betting, they can always contact the SBRU via our generic team email address of sbiu@gamblingcommission.gov.uk. We don't deal with complaints, so if we do occasionally get individuals saying, "Oh, well, I saw this match on Saturday and I had a bet and the referee made a wrong decision. I think it's a fix." And, you need to address that with the operator rather than with us. But yeah, those would be the two main ways, I think, of getting in touch. But obviously, there's a lot of information on our website as well. They can look on the Gambling Commission website. If you search for SBRU on there, you'll find a load of pages and a load of information about the work that the team does.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I think it's been really useful to hear about some of the work you do and shine a light on that. So may that continue.
Thank you very much, Haroon. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
This is Inside the Commission, a Gambling Commission podcast. To stay up to date with the latest content, you can subscribe to our Gambling Commission YouTube channel, or you can find us on your preferred platform, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening.